Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. We are meeting here as part of the Global Atomic Forum, and I am pleased to welcome here the heads of state, leaders of international organizations, and I hope that together we will be able to have a substantive discussion on issues concerning the present and future of the nuclear industry. Such a dialogue is especially important at a time when more and more countries and major companies see nuclear power as a key energy resource for long-term accelerated development. Society's attitude toward nuclear energy is also steadily evolving, viewing it as an environmentally clean technology that opens up tremendous opportunities. It is clear that there are fundamental reasons for such a paradigm shift. And it's not just about reliable solutions that form the basis for advanced nuclear power units. There's something else that is important as well. A fundamentally new technological paradigm is emerging, with artificial intelligence being implemented everywhere. Processing enormous volumes of data requires significant energy resources. For example, in just this decade, electricity consumption by data centers will more than triple. I would like to note in this regard that Russia is already creating such modular data processing systems at its nuclear power plants. This is because nuclear power plants are best suited to provide stable and consistent energy supply. Another significant factor behind the surge of interest in nuclear energy is the demand for so-called green technologies, which minimize the impact on the environment and climate. And I will repeat, the key source of clean low-carbon energy is nuclear power plants. They surpass other energy sources in terms of the balance between cost, environmental impact, and the ability to provide stable energy output. As a result, according to forecasts, if I'm not mistaken, according to the IAEA forecast, by the middle of the century, the total capacity of all nuclear power plants in the world could increase by more than 2.5 times and reach almost 1,000 gigawatts. Moreover, the growth in demand for peaceful nuclear energy will be largely driven by the countries of the global South and East, which are strengthening their technological and industrial potential. We fully support the desire for development and the use of peaceful nuclear energy for these purposes. It is with some pride that we can say that today only Russia possesses expertise across the entire technological chain of nuclear energy. And thanks to their safety and resilience to external impacts, nuclear power plants built to Russian design are the most in demand in the world. I would also add that we are developing projects for small nuclear power plants, both land-based and floating. Just now, the head of Rosatom was telling us about this. Very soon, we will begin serial production of them. The key to Russia's leadership lies in our principled approach. First of all, we strictly fulfill the contractual obligations we have undertaken. I want to emphasize this crucial point. We fulfill everything strictly and meticulously, regardless of any prevailing political situation or external pressures. Secondly, we firmly reject what is often referred to as technological colonialism. That is to say, we absolutely do not make our valued partners dependent solely on Russian technical solutions. On the contrary, we actively help and support them in creating their very own sovereign national nuclear industry, which comprehensively includes the vital training of personnel and the establishment of essential centers of competence and expertise. We actively involve local companies, provide assistance in operating power units, and ensure the supply of nuclear fuel and waste management. I'll go even further. We share our experience and knowledge in the creation of other advanced industries of the 21st century as well. This includes nuclear medicine, digital systems, electric transport, and new materials. As a result, we help our partners make a real leap forward in development, bring their economies to a new level of efficiency, and ultimately improve people's quality of life. All of this is an important public and social dimension of our work. It is clear proof that equal access to technology, including in the field of peaceful nuclear energy, can ensure dynamic, yet fair and sustainable global development. Dear colleagues, we view peaceful nuclear technology as a foundation for broad international cooperation and for bringing nations closer together. Russia is interested in creating stable, long-term conditions for projects in the nuclear sector. Above all, for our country, the absolute priority is ensuring nuclear safety and the physical protection of nuclear facilities and installations. no matter where these facilities are located. That is why it is necessary to continue raising safety and reliability standards at every stage of the nuclear cycle, including uranium mining, the operation of reactors and the handling of spent nuclear fuel and radioactive waste. Moreover, regulation in this area must be set up in such a way as to maintain a carefully calibrated balance between the development of peaceful nuclear energy and the strengthening of the nuclear non-proliferation regime. Furthermore, it is clear that the construction of nuclear power plants requires significant resources, which means that the risks and benefits must be balanced among the main participants in such projects: governments, investors, and consumers. I believe it is necessary to develop modern models for financing the construction of nuclear power plants and to involve international financial institutions and development banks in such projects. I would also add in this regard that at the beginning of this year, the new development bank established by the BRICS countries confirmed its readiness to finance nuclear projects. And at the end of last year, at Russia's initiative, a mechanism for coordinating the efforts of BRICS countries was established, a platform for nuclear energy. A crucial issue is ensuring resource supply for nuclear power plants for decades to come. To use nuclear energy for peaceful purposes in the long term, fundamentally new and more efficient technologies are needed. And Russia is already working on creating such solutions. Just before the start of this session, my colleagues and I were sitting together, exchanging views informally before coming out here to the hall. And in this regard, I would also like to note that, according to OECD estimates, all uranium resources under the optimistic scenario will be completely depleted by the year 2090. That's about 8 million tons. However, in reality, this could happen as early as the 2060s. In other words, all of this could happen very quickly, right before our eyes. Especially considering that a quarter of the reserves are located in deposits where uranium is a byproduct. By 2030 already, now I'm getting to the main point, something I believe Russia can be proud of. Because as early as the year 2030 in Russia, specifically in the Tomsk region, we are planning to launch the world's very first nuclear power system with a completely closed fuel cycle. What does this mean? This is, in every sense, a revolutionary development by our domestic scientists and engineers. What does this mean? It means that practically the entire volume, 95% of spent fuel, will be repeatedly reused in reactors. Such a mechanism will, in the long run, allow us to practically solve the problems of accumulating radioactive waste and, which is also extremely important, essentially eliminate concerns about uranium supply. I would like to note that testing of the entire range of advanced materials for the closed cycle is planned to take place at the International Research Center. It is being established in the Ulyanovsk region in Russia, and we invite scientists from different countries to cooperate in developing technologies that, without any exaggeration, are ushering in a new era in nuclear energy. Dear friends, our meeting, the Global Atomic Forum, is dedicated to two significant anniversaries at once. These are the 80th anniversary of the domestic nuclear industry, which is being celebrated this year, as well as the Day of the Nuclear Industry Worker, which is observed annually in our country on September 28th. Let me remind you, my colleagues and I were just talking about this. I repeat once again, and I would like to say this to a broader audience. The first decision in the Soviet Union regarding the development of nuclear energy was made on September 28, 1942, during the Great Patriotic War, when the outcome of perhaps the most dramatic period of the war was still unknown. The Battle of Stalingrad was underway. The battle for Stalingrad. It was not over yet. But the State Defense Committee made the decision to organize work on uranium. The work began. I would like to sincerely congratulate the industry on its anniversary and the upcoming professional holiday of Russian nuclear workers, scientists, veterans of the industry, and of course the guests of the forum, and through you, the specialists from the former Soviet republics, who are united by the traditions of the great Soviet Ministry of Medium Machine Building, traditions that must absolutely be continued. I wish you new and great successes for the benefit of the citizens of our countries, and without exaggeration, for all of humanity. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It was a great pleasure. God bless.